What's going on, beautiful people? Thank you guys for tuning in, for watching. I love you guys. I appreciate the support, the love that I keep getting from you guys. Let's keep it up. One family, one love, one heart. We're taking this channel straight to the top, man. Straight to the top. Okay? So, in this video, speaking of straight to the top, man, I'm gonna tell you guys my immigration story on a banana boat. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't on a banana boat. It was in an airplane to Canada. So I don't know why. I just thought I want to make this video, and I have no idea what I'm gonna say. As usual, I never have any idea what I'm gonna say in these videos. So I guess I'll be running through the memories down memory lane as I'm making this video. Okay? So let's go ahead with it. I grew up in Qatar, Doha, Qatar. In Arabic, it's called Qatar. English, Qatar. It's a Middle Eastern country, very small country. It's one of the oil-rich countries, right? And I was born there, and I was raised there, and I spent the first 13 years of my life there. My mother tongue is Arabic. That's the language I grew up speaking. And when I came to Canada, I didn't speak English. And we'll get to that in a second. But just to give you guys a little bit of a background first, mother tongue is Arabic. I grew up in a conservative Muslim family, in a conservative Muslim society. The whole society is conservative. Quite conservative. Pretty damn conservative. Okay, so that's where I grew up, and I went to school in an all-boys school over there, because, again, the culture there is really uptight about mixed gender and sex and attraction and love. It's really weird what's going on there. Anyway, I went to an all-boys school, and there was a lot of aspect in my childhood that I wrote down to make separate videos for. Some of the violence that I went through, some of the things that happened, for a different video. So let's start it off from, I was 11, maybe turning 12, somewhere in between that. And my uncles have been in Canada. They've been in Canada, right? For quite a few years. I think they already became Canadian. And the idea of us immigrating to Canada, my family, has always been in the back of my dad's mind, I guess. I didn't know about it, nobody did. But sometime around 11, when I was 11 or something, the idea started to, go around that we might go to Canada. We might go to Canada. We might go to Canada. And I was against it, because as much of negativity and roughness that I was going through there, comfort zone, right? Nobody wants to leave their comfort zone. I was in a comfort zone, basically, to put it this way. I wasn't the happiest, a lot of shit was going on that was making me fucked up, but I was in the comfort zone. And the nice thing is, I had really good friends, and they were also going through the same thing, it's in the same culture, so misery loves company, I guess. I had really, really good friends, and I loved my friends. I loved my friends, and when I remember them right now, I'm not in touch with most of them, none of them really, but I still remember them with a lot of fondness. I love my friends. I lived in a compound, and I loved them. The best part of my childhood was just playing outside. So I didn't want to move because I love my friends. I love my people in the compound, right? Despite all the negativity that was going around, which we'll talk about in different videos, I heard the idea. I was completely against it. I was hoping it doesn't happen. In fact, I remember praying and saying, God, please, I don't want to go to Canada. Don't make it happen. Anyway, time goes on, and we just, you're kids. It's not like you're always thinking about, oh, fuck, I'm going to go to Canada. You're a kid. Kids are in the present moment or whatever. So, but then I remember this, because we moved here to Canada in October. Was it October? Either October or November. I think October 2014. October 2014. 2004. October 2004. So about 3 months before, I remember my dad walking in the house and saying, we're gonna move to Canada in 3 months. And when I heard that, I went to my room and I started crying. I didn't want to leave. I don't want to leave my friends. I love my friends. I didn't want to leave them. And I was crying and crying and crying and crying and crying, right? I went to my room and I was crying. I'm like, wow, I don't want to leave to Canada. I was crying, you know. I didn't think that, oh, it's a new language or a new culture or whatever. I didn't think about any of that. I just didn't want to leave my friends, and I was crying, right? So then, you know, we have to come with reality. We had to face reality. And I went on and started telling my friends, guys, I'm going to be moving in 3 months. And, you know, kids, you know, like you go through a lot with your friends as kids, and you know, even though we were busting each other's balls a lot and there was a lot of fighting, but then, you know, when they heard that I was moving, you know, like you can tell, everyone's like, wow, man, like, we're gonna fucking miss you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys too. So we spent the last 3 months, I spent it a lot of it, I spent it with my friends, playing outside. It was summertime, right? So just spend it with my friends, playing around, and they treated me so nicely those last 3 months. Right? I mean, a lot of these guys, I like got in fights with them, but then, you know, kids, right? Kids. And, but then they treated me so good the last 3 months, right? Because they knew I was leaving. And, so I remember the day that I left. I think it was sometime in October. I had all my friends gathered around where I lived. I still have pictures from it. And we took a lot of pictures. I have the pictures, and then that was that. I had to say my goodbye. And I remember I was crying, and my friends were crying too. And I was crying, just crying. Oh my God, I'm never gonna see these guys again. I don't know if I'm ever gonna even come back to this country or whatever. If I'm gonna see them, I'm gonna miss them so much. I had so many tears in my eyes, and just I was crying the whole time on the ride to the airport. I was crying. And we get to the airport and I'm still crying, but then, you know, we're in the airport now, so wipe my tears, whatever. Let's get on with it, get on with the program. My parents were stressed out of their fucking mind. We had 12 bags, right? We were moving countries. They're total different countries. We're going from Middle East to Canada, all the way there. And I think it was like a 30-hour flight. Ridiculous, right? How we had layover and stuff. And we have 12 big bags because we had like 6 people at the time in the family, and each person gets 2 bags. So we had like 2 bags, right? So 12 bags. Just, I remember my parents stressed out of their mind. Stressed out of their mind. We get to the airport and I remember stress, right? And eventually we get the bags, we get in the plane and stuff, and whatever, plane obviously. I'm not going to explain to you the mundane aspect of being in a plane ride. Anyway, we land in Calgary, Alberta, because I had an uncle there, so that's why we moved there. We were going to move to Toronto, but then we decided to move to Calgary because my uncle was there. So we land there, and I remember the first thing when we looked out of the window was it was snowing. I've never seen snow in my life. That was something I was looking forward to. So we saw snow, we were amazed. The whole city was white, and it was -7, which was a shock, obviously, to us, because I grew up literally in the desert. Literally, that, like, in the desert, okay? In the desert. So we look from the window as we're landing, and it's -7, and it's snow, and I remember this feeling of just awe. I'm like, wow, I'm in a totally different world here. And we get out, and we didn't have the proper gear. We did not have the proper gear. So it was -7. It was cold as fuck. It's cold as fuck. I remember just walking out of the airport. My uncle came to pick us up. Just those 2 minutes in between. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Holy shit. Anyway, we go stay at my uncle's in his basement. And we stayed there for 3 weeks until we found the house in his area. And here is where the fun begins. I didn't speak English. The only thing that I knew was numbers. I knew how to count from 0 to 10, maybe a little bit more. Maybe I knew how to count from 0 to, whatever. 11, I knew 11, I remember 12, 13. I could count probably till 20, from 0 to 20. I knew how to say yes and no. I knew the major colors: black, white, yellow, black. Of course, I had the accent. I still have the accent. But I knew the basic colors. I knew yes and no. I knew basic words. Very, 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 very basic stuff. But I couldn't formulate sentences. I didn't have grammar. I couldn't formulate sentences. If I looked at something, the most I would hope for is to just be able to name it, say this is a jacket or this is whatever, because I just couldn't. If I wanted to tell you I am picking up this pen, I didn't fucking know how to say that. I am picking up this pen. I am writing these words. I didn't know how to formulate sentences or grammar or anything like that. I didn't know. I was put in ESL, English as Second Language. And I was just, what you call a fob, right? Fresh off the boat. So that was pretty fucking rough, not speaking English. That was really rough. And I was coming from a culture, so let's get into the culture shock here. I was coming from a culture where when you went to school, you had to fight. And you had to assert your dominance, because the culture that I grew up in is very, very male dominance, male hierarchy. So it's all about trying to alpha your way through, basically. And that's the culture I came from. So I came in and I was very defensive. I was very, very defensive. I don't speak the language. I'm very paranoid. I feel like people are looking at me weird. I don't even know if somebody comes to talk to me, I don't know what to say. I'm scared to embarrass myself. This is a weird culture. There's girls in my school. I'm not used to that. I'm like, what? There's girls. I'm not used to that. Girls. I'm like, what? There's girls here? I'm super shy. I'm super shy because I don't know. I grew up with boys. 13 years of my life, I grew up with boys. And there's girls there. I'm like, there's girls? I was shy. I was scared, right? I didn't speak the language. I was extremely shy from girls, specifically. With guys, I was very aggressive. Very aggressive, because this is the way I grew up. Every time I changed so many schools, even when I was in Qatar. First thing I would do, first week or so, I'd get in a fight. It's just the way it is. You get in a fight, you show people, even if you lose the fight, you gain respect. So, I was used to this kind of environment where you're always fighting and you're always on your toes and you're always defensive and you're always aggressive. And so with the guys, I was aggressive. I was like, if somebody looked at me, I'd get ready to fight or fucking, you know what I mean? Here I am, clueless, not speaking the language, and I have this culture shock, and I'm defensive and I'm ready to fight. I think I'm gonna fight. I'm expecting that I'm gonna get in a fight in the first week, and I got in a fight the first week, of course, because I'm looking for it. Of course, that law of attraction, the universe, that's how it works, right? I was looking for it, so I got in a fight, but it was broken up. It was in my ESL class with another fob like me. So it takes two fobs, right? Because, the guy who I got in a fight with, I became friends with him later, but he also comes from this similar culture. He was Afghan, right? Same thing, same culture. So perfect right there, perfect storm, a match made in heaven. So we got in a fight, the teacher broke it off, and I didn't get suspended, nothing. They started to explain to us that this is not how things are done here. And I started to realize, whoa, maybe, why am I being so aggressive here? I just instinct. I'm operating on instinct here, guys. I'm 13 years old, grade 8, right? I'm operating purely on instinct. So I'm starting to realize, okay, maybe I should be a little bit less aggressive. And I started to become a little bit less aggressive. I started to see that people are actually nice, that, Canadians are in general nice, right? And I started to see, people are not, are not so bad, right? People here are not so bad. Maybe I don't have to be on my toes and defensive all the time, right? Just instinctually, I started to realize that after I got in a fight. I started to realize that. So then I didn't get in a fight after. You know, I was like, okay, you know, a little bit more chilled in that sense. Still extremely shy around girls. Extremely shy. Like don't know what the fuck to say. You know, I'm just looking at them like, it's girls. It's girls. You know? So still no English though. I remember clearly this incident. I got in a bus because I was taking the bus, and I got in the bus. We just finished school, and there was this cute girl, right? And I think she liked me. You know, I definitely think she liked me because I mean, she told me. What I realized she did is she told me come sit beside me, and when I walked into the bus, she saw me. She told me, come sit beside me. I look at her and, and I'm like, yes. Because I didn't know what she said. Then she's like, no, come sit beside me. And then I'm looking at her, I'm like, no. I'm clueless. I don't know what she's saying. I'm just trying to respond here, right? I went and I sat somewhere else, but then I realized, because I'm shy, like I'm embarrassed, I don't know what to say. I realized when I went to sit there somewhere else, I'm like, she wanted me to sit beside her because, you know, her body language said that. But of course, again, I was very shy. I didn't know what she was saying. So I'm like, yes. Then she told me again, come sit beside me. I said, no. And then I go sit somewhere else. And then I realized, I'm like, you fucking idiot. She wanted you to sit beside her. Anyway, nothing happened between me and that girl because my shyness with girls, it took a lot of time before it, you know, started to go away. So, that was one thing. The one thing that really saved me, specifically that first year, sports. Oh, here's another story. So, I come from a country, we're obsessed there, Middle East, we're obsessed with soccer, football, right? Football. So, I come here to Canada, and I hear these guys say the word football, right? I'm looking at them, bunch of white guys, right? They're saying, football. And then I'm like, oh, you guys are playing football, right? I'm just using kind of bad language. They're like, yeah, football. I'm like, all right, I'm coming. I go with them, and then they fucking take off this egg-shaped thing, and they start to throw it around. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm confused here. I'm like, I look at the guy, I'm like, football. And he's like, he realizes, he's like, oh, no, that's soccer. I'm confused. I'm looking around, I'm like, soccer? No. I go home, I have a dictionary, right? I'm learning English. I look at the word, you know, soccer. And I'm like, these guys call it soccer here. Okay, I asked my cousins. My cousins were there. I asked them. They're like, oh yeah, it's called soccer here. I'm like, oh, fuck. Because I got so happy, so excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go play football. And it turns out they take this egg-shaped thing. By the way, why is this called football? First of all, it's egg-shaped. It's not even a ball. It's an egg. Second of all, you only use it like what? A few times a game or something? Anyway. So, sports really helped me that first year because I started to bond with kids there based on sports. And gym class, I love gym class. I loved gym class. Oh my god, I loved gym class. Gym class was my favorite. Because I'd go in there, it's not much worse being talked here, you know? Sometimes we played hockey, sometimes we played basketball, sometimes we played soccer, sometimes we played, not baseball, what's the other one thing called? It's another variation of baseball. You kick the ball and, fuck, I forget the name of it. Sometimes we played frisbee. It really depended on the weather and stuff. I love gym class. Gym class was my favorite. I remember there was a really cute girl there. Her name was Anella. I remember her name still. I think she was Bosnian. And oh my god, I thought she's the cutest thing ever, but I didn't know. I was too shy. I didn't know what to say. I didn't think she would like me or take any interest in me. But I still remember like that Anella chick, man. Like I remember her, grade 8. Oh my god, in the gym class. Oh. So gym class is my favorite. This is how I started to make friends and bond with people because the language barrier was still there. I didn't speak English. It took me a long time. Sorry, not a long time. It took me that first year to be able to start formulate sentences. So that whole year I was doing ESL, English as Second Language, so I took separate classes, but then I would see the regular kids in gym class, and this is when I started to make some friends with the regular kids, right? They were, you know, just the people who grew up here, spoke English, and, you know, that's when I started to mix up with them a little bit and just kind of bond with them over sports, over, you know, just playing kids, right? Kids stuff. And I start to pick up the language a little bit. I'm starting to learn English as Second Language, right? And yeah, that first year was really difficult, really tough. I had no friends, right? I had no friends that first year. I had no friends, you know, no friends really. And then I started to make friends as I went into grade 9. A year later, I started to make friends. But that first year, no friends. Really trying to get adjusted to the weather. And there was another story that I told you guys in the previous videos. It was a snowstorm. And the thing is, my school was so far because we came in late. We came in October. So the school that was close to me was full. So they sent me to a school so far. So I'd wake up, walk for 25 minutes from my house to the bus stop in the cold. And Calgary is fucking cold. And I'd wait there for the bus. And one time, so then the bus would be 40 minutes, sometimes an hour to get to school, right? So I had to be up really early and do a lot of walking, right? It was hard, and I still couldn't get adjusted to the weather. One time it's a snowstorm, -25, a big giant snowstorm. I just got off the bus stop. I have 25 minutes to walk to fucking, to my house. So, and it was bad. Oh my God, it was terrible, right? I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna fucking die. I swear to God, I thought I was gonna die. By the time I got home, my mom looks at me. She feels me up. She's like, oh my God, like feels up my hands, feels me up. I'm frozen. I think I had like hypothermia then. I had hypothermia. And I was sick for like 2 weeks. I was like sick for the next 2 weeks. Really difficult time. First year was really difficult. You know, looking back at it, seeing 13 years ago, this was 13 years ago. I came in here 13, now I'm at the half-point line where I've been in Canada for 13 years and I was somewhere else for 13 years. I'm just scratching the surface. There's a lot of things that we can talk about here. Lots of things we can share, stories. It took me some time to learn English. That whole first year. I didn't really start to formulate proper sentences and put things together until probably 2 years after, right? I'm really grateful where I am in life. I know I said that I got on my knees and I prayed to God that I don't want to come to Canada, and I'm thankful that God didn't answer my prayers. And now I look back and I see everything happens for a reason. It was meant to be. It was destined. I was supposed to come here to Canada, and it makes sense because I'm doing YouTube videos now. Had I stayed in Qatar, I would have been a completely different person. I was chubby at the time too. Oh, I didn't even fucking tell you guys about my chubbiness. See, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot we can go on here. I didn't even tell you guys about my chubbiness. I was chubby when I came here. I was a chubby fucking kid. I was a chubby short kid. So that added to all the problems that I had of language, no language, complete shyness in front of girls, and no friends. And on top of it, I'm fucking chubby, you know. But we worked on that year. I spent that whole year. What saved me? Why I'm so grateful to fitness, and I love fitness and gymming and exercising, because it saved me that year. It really did save me that year, because that's kind of, I started to make friends there. I lost the weight that year from just playing and walking, because I had to walk to the bus stop, and there was a lot of walking, trains. It was a lot of walking. It took me 1.5 to 2 hours to go from my house to school every morning, and after I went after school. And the school name is Sir Wilfrid Laurier. No, was it? I think so. Sir Wilfrid Laurier was the name of the school. It was in Forest Lawn. For you guys, if anybody lives in Calgary, in Forest Lawn, one of the worst areas in Calgary, by the way. So anyway, that's it. I think I want to finish off the video here. Maybe make a part 2 to this, because, you know, again, we missed out. I know there's a lot of shit that I missed out on. the whole chubbiness thing, I can make a separate video for that. And then I can go on and on about, okay, what happened the year after, because, you know, there was lots of things. There was also a story in grade 10 where I started to smoke weed and my parents found out and I flipped out at my teacher. Different. You know what? We'll go like, how about this, guys? We'll do like a series of this, my immigration to Canada kind of thing, right? So we'll say this is the part 1. This is the first one. This is just whatever, right? So that's it. I'm glad to be here. I love this country, despite the fact that it's cold as fuck and people here are kind of rigid. But I love them. I love everything. I love this country. I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful. God bless. I wouldn't be able to make these videos if I'm not in a country that allows me to speak freely, right? And this is the beautiful thing about Canada. I have the freedom to be. Although the society here is still like a big mess and people are still messed up, you know, and still sort of robots and whatnot. But at least in this country, I get to be myself. I get to express myself freely, my ideas freely. If I was to be the same person in Qatar as like now, just be free, expressing myself, they would take me to jail. They would probably fucking cut my head off because, you know, I left the religion and all of that. It would be a big mess. So I'm happy. I'm thankful. God bless. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is destined to happen the way it is. Everything's perfect. I'm here for a reason. And it's clear to me that part of my reason here, part of my mission is to keep making these videos, inspire people, and spread love, happiness, and joy. Thank you, guys. God bless you all. This is beautiful. This is amazing. Life is good. And that's it. Don't forget to subscribe or you're gonna sleep with the fishes.